Overflows, Male and Female Psychology. There is a vast difference between male mind and the female mind. Both function differently. They are polar opposites. Spiritually, they are exactly the same, but psychologically, they are poles apart and function in different ways. Women are more natural, more in tune with the existence, while the entire civilization is going astray from nature. The more man becomes civilized, the more he is hung up in the head. He loses contact with his heart. The heart is still primitive, and it is good that the universities have not yet found a way to teach the heart and make it civilized. This is the only hope for humanity. This is the only hope for humanity to survive. The women is only hope for humanity to survive. Up to now, man has been dominant, and man has been dominant for very strange reason. The reason is that deep down he feels he is inferior. The reason is that deep down he feels inferior, and out of this inferiority, just to compensate it, he started dominating the women. Only in one sense he is stronger than the women, and that is the muscular strength. In every other way, women is far more stronger than a man. A woman lives longer than man, 5 to 7 years longer. The woman suffers less from disease, illnesses than the man. Women has more resistance to disease of all kinds. More men go mad. The number is almost double, and more men commit suicide. Again, the number is higher. In every possible way, except the muscular, women is far more superior. But to have muscular strength is not really something very superior. It is animalistic. In that sense, a wolf is far more superior, a tiger is even more, and a lion is still more superior. Man must have become aware of his inferiority millions of years ago, and this is one of the psychological mechanisms. Whenever you become aware of a certain inferiority, you have to compensate for it. The ugly person tries to look beautiful, pretends to be beautiful in every possible in every possible manner. The inferior person tries to be superior, and because of this, and because of his muscular strength, the man could prove to be the master, and he has dominated the woman down the ages. But the time has come now for a great change. The future belongs to woman, not to man, because what man has done down through these ages has been so ugly. Wars and continuous wars. What is his whole history? Yes, there have been few men like Gautam Buddha, Jesus Christ, Krishna, but but have you noted one thing? They all look feminine. This is an important point that you have to look. They all look feminine. That was one of Friedrich Nietzsche's criticism of Buddha and Jesus, that they look feminine, that they are womanish. Buddha certainly looks feminine. Whenever a man moves into heart, something in him goes feminine. He becomes more round, more soft, more vulnerable. more compassionate. There has been few Buddhas. If you look closely at them, you will find they are more feminine than masculine. All the great artists of the world slowly and slowly start growing a quality of feminineness, grace, elegance, and exquisiteness. A certain flavor of softness, relaxedness, calmness, and quietness surrounds them. They are no longer feverish anymore. At the level of awakening, each man turns feminine, and women are naturally feminine. However, not only women is to be liberated, man too needs to be liberated out of this situation. The woman has to be liberated from the past, so too man has to be liberated from his past. We need a liberated human being, a transformed. This is the basis for transformation. And remember, when I use the word man and women, I do not make any distinction between man and women. Both have suffered in their own way. In fact, suffering always comes like that. It is a double edged sword. If you make someone suffer, you too have to suffer. If you make somebody a slave, you too become slave. It is a mutual process. The day women are liberated will be a great day of liberation for men as well. But do not make the whole thing ugly as it has been done in the past. Otherwise, there is every possibility that in fighting with men, women may lose something which is valuable, the inner quality, something which has not yet been crushed and destroyed by men may be destroyed by women themselves. In fighting with men, in fight furiously, you will lose the beauty of femininity and you yourself will become as ugly as men. It has not yet been decided by fighting. Nothing can be decided by fighting. Instead, it has to be decided through understanding and awareness. Understanding is a function of awareness. You spread more and more understanding, drop these ideas of being men and women. We are first human beings than anything else. And being a human being is more than enough. To be a man or a woman is just a very superficial thing. Don't make such fuss about it. It is not anything very important, so do not make any deal, a big deal about it. And what I say sometimes may look like generalizations because each time I cannot put all the conditions that define the man and a woman. Otherwise, my talking to you will become burdened and like footnotes in a book. I am always talking about types, including excluding the gender. My emphasis is on a man type or a female type, not the masculine gender or feminine gender. I say man, and by saying so, I mean man type. There may be women who are man type. There may be men who are women type, like Gautam Buddha, Jesus, they are women type. And whenever I say women, I mean the women type. But I cannot use the word each time. Instead, there are women who are not women. Also, there are men who are not men because they have other qualities manifesting through them. I'm not talking about the biological distinction between man and a woman. Instead, I'm talking about the psychological one. Yes, there are men who are far more feminine than any woman, and there are women who are far more masculine than any man. But it is not a beautiful state, instead, ugly, because this is creating a duality in you. If you have the body of a man and the psychology or the mind of a woman, there will be a conflict, a social struggle in you, a civil war in you. You will be continuously in fighting and tense. Similar is the case with women. If you are a woman psychologically and you have the mind of, if you are a woman physiologically, biologically, and you have the mind of a man, your life will dissipate much energy in unnecessary conflict. It is better to be in tune. If a man is, if a man in the body and then a man in the mind as well, it is better. And that is how it should be. But the women's liberation movement is creating unnecessary trouble. It is turning women into wolves and teaching them how to fight. Man is enemy. And how can you love the enemy? How can you be in an intimate relationship with an enemy? The man is not enemy. The woman, to be a woman, has to be more and more feminine, has to touch the heights of softness and vulnerability, and the man has to be really a man. He has to move into his masculinity as deeply as possible. When a real man comes in contact with the real woman, they are polar opposites, extremes, but the two extremes can fall in love with one another. And only extremes can enjoy real intimacy. Only extremes attract each other. What is happening now is a kind of a unisex. Men becoming more and more feminine, women becoming more and more masculine. Sooner or later, all distinctions will be lost. It will be a very colorless society and very boring. I would like the women to become as feminine as possible. Only then she can flower. And men needs to be as muscular as possible. Only then he can blossom into his potentiality. When they are polar opposites, a great attraction, a great magnetism arises between them. And when they come close, when they meet in intimacy, they bring two different worlds, two different dimensions, two different richnesses, and the meeting is tremendously a blessing and it is a benediction. Enough for now. Next comes, without women, there is no celebration. Next, tomorrow's session, without women, there is no celebration. Enough for now.